Let me make sure.
Hi, Natalia.
Hi, Tati. Yay!
Hey.
Hi, everybody. It's exciting to have you all on here. We're going to start now. So this is Anysquared Spotlight, and this week is Tattianna Howard. And Tati came to Anysquared and I'm Tracy Kostenbader. And Tati came to Anysquared 5 years ago in 2015, and she's been on and off coming since then. And I would say in the last 2 years, she's become a solid part of our collective, and has done some amazing things from curating our amazing lip exhibit in early March to planning a whole bunch of events in March that we didn't get to have and we're postponing. But Tati's an amazing artist and a wonderful friend, and she's super talented and super thoughtful and super organized. So I'm super happy to introduce Tattianna Howard.
Hey, everybody.
And Tati, I'm going to let you share your screen.
Right.
I'm stopping my share.
Okay.
And
So sharing screen. Give you 1 second, everybody. 2 seconds.
Thank you.
All right. Can we see this? Are we here?
Yeah, we're here. We see it. It's great.
Excellent. Hello, friends, loved ones, family. My name is Tattianna Howard. I'm an artist here in Chicago, born and raised from the West Side, North Lawndale, and Austin. A painter, organizer, an instructor, and community member, right? I like to build relationships with folks. And so it's just a sweet little chat. It's nothing too crazy. I'm just talking about myself and smiling a lot at you as you listen to me talk about my work. Okay, next slide. So yes, like I said, I'm a Chicago native, Austin, North Lawndale. I like to make this very clear when I talk about myself because growing up in quote unquote the hood or in purposely neglected neighborhoods in Chicago, it can be hard to be something that you want to be or aspire to be, right? Like an artist or a musician or a doctor or anything, because like the system kind of like keeps our neighborhoods down, right? And so I am really, I'm getting nervous. No, but it's really important that I share this because I think that folks who are from these neighborhoods that are underserved, who are in the art community, in the world, they have this thing where they can exist on the equator of being from this world and succeed, right? Not only that, I applaud people who started way lower on a negative scale to like climb higher, to be at the same spot that other folks were when they had like better opportunities. So shout out to all of my artists, friends, and family who are from the hood. Next slide. Okay, so how I got into art. I went to school. I basically like lived at school. I loved it so much. And I did lots of art programs, but then I met some folks who they just had like a like mind, and they were like, let's do some events. Let's just show off our friends. We all do art, let's throw shows. And so that's how I got into DIY. And so DIY is do it yourself. And a do it yourself venue, in a sense, is basically you rent out a space, you live in it. Most people who rent out their spaces live in it. And then you just throw art events catered to local up and coming or like grassrootsy type of artists in Chicago, whether it's music, visual arts, performance arts, plays, comedy, anything. And so DIY is where it started. It started at Loud Arts. Shout out to Loud Arts. Back in the day, I would say my sophomore year in college, I met a person and then we collaborated to bring our friends together to make a venue where we would have like open studio days, music performances, and some live art shows. And it was a great time. Shout out to the Dojo, AMFM, Anysquared, and House of Euphoria. Those are the DIYs that I feel like molded me as I guess like a live artist and a relationship building artist and a communal artist where like we just kind of like collaborate on some things to make things happen. And that was really cool. Next slide. And from there, it was a snowball of opportunities, right? From that, I started collaborating with so many different people who were attached to so many other people who gave opportunities. And so one of the biggest ones that I had was doing AmeriCorps Public Allies. That was great. I learned a lot about administrative assisting or like arts administration in the whole, where you have to like really design every single part of your art event or your art class or your art talk or like any type of communal event that just like is shared with community, right? And so art administration, I think, helped me work with a lot of folks that I'm working with today. I've got a chance with Chicago Art Department. I've gotten a chance with Conversation, also Wonder Museum, also the National Museum of Mexican Art, also the Hairpin Art Center. And it's just, once you just kind of like get into like understanding people and building those relationships, and what is building relationships too? I think it's giving people what they need and getting what you need too. It's just like a flow, some type of like cycle of you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Do you need some speakers? Oh great, I need some live painters. Do you need some materials? Oh great, I need somebody to help me paint a wall. It's kind of like that, and it's lovely. All right, so I'm getting into the live painting. This is how I started being recognized in the art scene, I suppose, just live painting and being out in the world and like showing up. We'd usually have like a time limit, maybe like 2 hours or 3 hours, maybe 1 hour. This one time I did 20 minutes. It all depends. The live paintings are from a few different events that I'm showing here. I'm gonna get into the meaning of all of this work in just a second, but I want to start here with the street art. This is where I started. And so I was talking, I remember this day, we were hosting a show and I was talking to like a very esteemed street artist person. And they were like, Tati, you're great. Just do it. Just do it. Don't even care. Just do it. You're not going to get caught. You're not going to get in trouble. Just do it and try it. And I was like, okay. And so I literally went around, I think this was 2016 maybe, these images. I went around and literally just like put them up. The first one took 7 hours, the second one took about 4 hours, the third one was like a 30-minute thing. And it was cool because I got even more opportunities from that, like people like stopping on the street like, hey, what do you do? What's your name? What's your Instagram? Okay, great. And then lo and behold, maybe like 2 months later, they'll have like a new opportunity and a new thing to do. This little uplift box, I love my little octo box. This was for, I believe, the Beer Temple in Avondale. Yay! I was invited by Natalia Vitafuentes, Quick Tarzula, Angel Lunetta, and another artist, I believe, or maybe it was just all of us, not sure. But I was invited to paint with them on the Bucket of Blood in Avondale as well. And so after we painted that full like mural, I think it was maybe 12x and then like maybe like 6y. So it was like, 12 by 6 feet or whatever. It was cool. We all had like our little boards, but across the street, we noticed that all of these boards were not painted and we just asked the question. And that's, I I think that's like one of the most powerful things in street art. Like you literally just, you make work and then you say, hey, this is my work. Can I paint here? And then most of the times they say yes, or or they give you money to do so. And we definitely got hooked up to get some more materials to keep us flowing with painting. This was around the time where all the riots were happening in Chicago because of the stacked police murders, the unjust stacked police murders that kept happening over and over and over during COVID, specifically George Floyd. And so a lot of artists or a lot of businesses, they boarded up their walls or their windows, and then a lot of artists just came through to paint them. And the city just turned into like this beautiful mosaic for just a second. I believe these boards will be reutilized. I need to reread my artist contract that I signed, but I think these boards are going to be reutilized throughout Chicago as a memorial of this time. So
This one in particular is going to an elementary school.
this one is?
Yes.
Wow. Sweet. Thank you, Talia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Here's some things that I did along with Anysquared at the Hairpin Art Center. So the Hairpin Art Center is located smack dab in the middle of Logan Square, Diverse Milwaukee Kimball. It's right above this wacky museum shop called the Extraordinarium. Hairpin Art Center, they host so many interdisciplinary events, showcases. Of course, because of COVID, it's not happening right now. But like Tracy mentioned earlier, we did co-curate a whole long exhibit that was supposed to go until the beginning of March all the way until the end of the year, 2020. It's called LIP 2020, which stands for Life in Progress. So we had a whole showing. We reached out to tons of artists, Chicago artists, international artists, older artists, younger artists, and it was just like this really nice intergenerational mix of people like showing here. And so since we couldn't show here anymore and our events were canceled, the Hairpin Art Center was kind enough to let us paint on their windows. And these are the two paintings that I did. These are my cat snacks. Got a kitty hot dog, kitty pizza, kitty woohoo. And these are my lips in honor of Lip 2020. And then, okay, and so again, with like working with my co-colleagues, my friends, my DIY collective people, I work a lot with Anysquared, and this is particularly an art drive for a bunch of kids for Unity Park. Amy Sell and Robert Castillo like runs the art stuff within Unity Park. And so Amy Sell got together a lot of materials, and there were tons of volunteers who got together and made some things. This little illustration here is a part of I think it's maybe like a 15-page coloring book, but Anysquared reached out to lots of, what kind of artists could I say? Sticker artists, if you will, to create some cutouts and some activities and some coloring books or some coloring pages for the coloring books. And it was cute. It's my favorite cat.
It was excerpted from a coloring book that Cece organized.
Cece organized. See?
No art one.
Cece's the best. This mural, this happened this summer. I was super honored to be involved in it. I feel like this is one of the biggest, most profound things I've gotten a chance to be involved with. Black Trans Lives Matters. Black Trans Lives Matters in Andersonville. It's in Andersonville. It's sealed. It's going to be there for the entire year. The street is still there. There's so many artists who came to work on it. Some of them spent the day, some of them spent a few, but this whole experience was just lovely. Everybody was communicating with each other, talking to each other. It was more of a communal art mural happening that needed to be addressed in this city. And I think it's really important that Andersonville has this, because Andersonville, everybody thinks of like gay neighborhoods like boys town. Like I don't think people like register Andersonville as a big LGBTQIA neighborhood, right? And so it is, and they we all sorry, I got a little distracted. Oh no, going too far. Here we go. Okay, so we all made a point for the neighborhood to see this. Lots of neighbors came around asking like, oh, what is this about? Oh, I really appreciate it. There's lots of Black and brown people in Andersonville that don't seem to get recognized. So I think this was a really cool, beautiful thing. This is me painting with one of the artist's daughters that asked me lots of questions, and we had a good time that day. This is the letter that I painted. It's the second T in matter. I got the huge honor to paint next to Sam Kirk. Yay. Sweet. Over here is more of my work and what I do. So here, let me bring up some notes. I wrote notes. All right. So I think this may come up in the next slide or so, but I'll see it now. My work is illustrative imagery, right? That's reflective of emotions, evolution, pain, and femininity. I oftentimes merge gore with a subtle air of sexuality sprinkled with trinkets of symbolized images. And so this in particular is just, it's like a cute, fun, gory, adorable picture that's a print. I love this so much. It's called My Chopped Kitties. Here's me painting an Anysquared. This one definitely is one of my most original and important pieces because it comes from lots of insecurity as a Black woman. And so there's lots of lemons because one of my friends and coworkers that I've met a few years ago, she passed away from some like deep-seated insecurity issues, and it was really sad. And her name was Lemon, and she was a singer, pretty well known in the DIY community. She had a DIY space as well, but when everyone heard about it, we were shocked because people just they just like wear what they can to get through the day a lot. So you never know, but it shocked me too. But what stood out for me was her just like boldness with her insecurities that a lot of, I think, little Black girls, especially little Black girls from the hood and Black women do have like in the world that we're presented in. And so for me, this was just, this painting in particular was kind of like an homage to her and like me feeling a lot of her pain. And you'll see like lots of reoccurring images with these lemons and hearts in my art too. This is a portrait of one of my friends, Benita Appleblunt. She's a DJ. She's so lovely. I just, whenever she spins, this is how I envision her, just like the glasses of all knowing with the water and honey being made down below. She's a powerful lady. This one, really intense. It's called Vulnerability. So I painted this a little while after going through some things like heartbreak and family issues and financial things, and then like friendships kind of being rocky when you turn the page of being like happy and successful all the time to like, dang, maybe I need a little bit of help. And then they kind of like switch up on you. And so for me, this wolf represents a part of myself that is just like very guarded now. Yes, I am vulnerable, which is all of the nasty, tasty guts and the flowers and my regurgitated heart. But for the most part, those ninja knives are protecting my soul from tomfoolery and whatnot. I really love this piece. It's one of my favorites. So lately I've just been moving into, what can I call this? Just like collage, like drawn collage work. And it's just like specific imageries that I like mush together to make a narrative. And so you can like read it. Anybody can read this. It's very readable, like cherries, femininity, guts, vulnerability, like the lips, sexuality, the eyeballs, like all knowing and seeing, the clouds, like free spirited, and like the nopals, just like a little bit of culture I have lots of Mexican friends, and so a lot of times I put lots of like Mexican tropes and imageries in my work too. This one too. This is all about transcendence and evolution and a little bit of pain at the same time. Like it's gonna hurt, but you're gonna get there, basically. So yeah, this is some more street art that I did with Unity Park. I painted a public library, not a public library, but a free library for the community. It's really fun. It's still there. And then this is Project Logan. A lot of my art friends painted on Project Logan. I'm really happy I got the chance to paint in it too and invite my friends to paint in it as well. I got the opportunity from Tracy Kassenbader and then Flash, ABC, and Project Logan, and just gave me all like creative reign. So I thought, hey, invite your friends and let's make some holiday stickers. The theme was holiday. Flash wanted it to be Christmassy and really cool. And so I thought like these stickers, these are like really cool, like little just knickknacks of holidayness that makes a lot of sense and embodies our art style. So I think that's about it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how nervous I was the whole time. Oh, shut up, Caesar. But that's pretty much it. Ask me questions if you'd like. If not, feel free to, mosey on backwards and look at some more stuff. Which one
Yeah,
is
keep showing them for a minute.
favorites, or which one resonates to you the most? Or I don't know, what do I think about Chicago in general as an art scene? I'll just tell you what I think about Chicago in general as an art scene. All right, so for the most part, Chicago, I think, is not ran by street artists, but more so like a lot of street artists like set the tone of what the city is, right? Because a lot of their work is out on the streets, like outside for public. And I think that's one of the best ways to engage with community is public art. And B, I think even though Chicago is so large and there's so many deep rooted things that you can just get lost in, it's still pretty small. And so granted, like I feel like walking down the street, I can see a mural and be like, oh, I know that person. They did that. Good for them. That looks great. So there's this very quaint but connected community here in Chicago, like in the street art scene. There's other scenes too. There's lots of performance art scenes that I am almost 25% with my foot in the door with. I've only been to a few, not too much. I'm more of a visual artist, so of course the street art scene, and then the big fine artist scene. There's a big one of those too. And then the conceptual artist scene, and then the music scene. So I really wish there was a way we can all like come together and kind of like bring all of these different variables of art like into like one ball of space. Unfortunately, COVID is stupid, so it's not gonna happen. But it's one of the things I think about, or that I have thought about as like my like goal as a pre-professional art administrator slash painter. Not only that, I feel like the West and South sides are super barren with art, but there's so many artists that emerge from there, myself included. And so I think it'd be really cool to just like implement some, or like get some, I don't know, get some grants and implement some programs that could help youth and adults alike to have positive and restorative conversations and make art that's reflective of that, right? And then just put it up large on the wall. And I think nothing's more powerful than people from their like respective neighborhoods, like being like, hey, I did that, that's mine, you know? Like that's the real ownership of like your city and your block. Shout out to my city, my block. Very cool. Shout out to Block Love Chicago.
You want
Yeah.
to take some questions, Tati?
Yeah, I don't see anything. I'm just talking.
I know that Robert has a question, and he should just get on the video and ask. Robert?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mine's a two-part question for Tattianna. One, whose artwork do you see that really maybe inspires you and brings you joy? And secondly, who's an artist or artist whose hustle you appreciate?
Ooh, such good questions. Thank you. I love that. Okay. Artists that have inspired me throughout the years. Of course, there's Salvador Dali with his surrealism and just magic. It's outstanding. That's more of a historical up there artist. Maybe someone in Chicago more so. Caroline Liu, I think Squeak Starzula, who else? Lots of women. I like Cosmo, Tati Garcia, which is LOLO. They just like have this very whimsical, outer worldly work it obviously exists in their heads and nowhere else. It's completely original, but within their own psychedelic brains that comes onto the page, and I really love them so much. Nikos, it's Nychos. He makes these large, massive scale, like stories upon stories, murals of lots of animals and characters that are kind of like chopped in half so you can see their anatomical parts inside. I get a lot of inspiration from him. Super cool. There's this artist, her name's Lauren Marks. You can find her on Instagram, Lauren Marks Art. A lot of her line work I'm inspired by because it's just like so very dainty and just very like careful. And obviously like there's a lot of energy that she puts into her lines instead of just going. It's really, really cool. Who else? I mean, I can name a bunch, but that's that. And the second question was, sorry, what was the second question?
Which artist do you appreciate their hustle?
Oh, okay. Chicago specifically, I gotta go with Centrock. Centrock's hustle is outstanding, and they just like, there's just brick after brick after brick of layers of just work. Also, Sierra McKissick, both of them, they came to Chicago not too long ago, and they just started very like modest and kind of grassrootsy and just kept working, and now they're so large and wonderful, and their work is encompassing a lot of other people too, and helping people and building space for people, and I think that's just really powerful. So I think those two. For Sierra McKissick is an art administrator, Centrock is a muralist, and kind of like a mentor for youth who want to be muralists as well. I think super cool. But yeah, if there's any else, I know there's thousands of more. I can't believe I'm not thinking of all of them. Sorry, you guys.
Well, also, Ona asks, who are your most significant influences and collaborators?
Collaborators. So I'm going to bring everything to home, like the collaborators, that people who I have worked with. I would say my significant, I'm just gonna name favorites because I think that's significant. The best people that I've ever worked with in the art scene was the folks that I worked with Loud Arts, with this DIY that was started years and years ago. Initially, that was lovely. I think Elephant Rebellion is outstanding, and they're still going so strong. And they were a big team to be a part of, and I really appreciated working with them. I think Anysquared for sure. Like, hey, Hi. Hi, Anysquared. Anysquared. I'm still working with Anysquared to this day. Tracy and I sometimes hang out and eat and co-work, which is lovely. Um, what else? Hostile Euphoria is a big one too. Also the dojo. The dojo. I think I started live painting more often when the dojo was around because I was living in North Lawndale at the time and they were in Pilsen, and I would just literally bike there and show up at a show and be like, hey, can I live paint? And they'd be like, okay, sure. You want some free tacos? I'm like, great, yeah, let's get it. So I practiced a lot there in front of like really big crowds. And the dojo was very helpful. Household Euphoria was very helpful. Benny Square was helpful. AMFM was helpful. We're talking about DIY specific, or
It's Ona's question, so I don't know. Ona, do you have any other things to add? I mean, DIY specific is great, I think, because those are the things I think that, you know, people collaborate on the most.
Yeah, it's lots of
Yeah.
relationship building. It's relationship building, and it's there's this inherent teamwork within DIY because you know no one has money, of course, and so if we can trade
Right.
and rely on each other, I think that's.
And I know Jerry asked, how do you feel about being a teacher and teaching?
How do I feel about being a teacher? Well, I'm not necessarily a full teacher. I do not have control over the entire physics and environmental science classes that I'm working with, but I do have some art infused programs that I'm like running by my teacher in partnership. So I'm kind of more so like an artist in residence. But I will say that online teaching is so difficult. It's so very difficult. You have to be really on point with your students, or sometimes you can maybe lose them. Especially nowadays, like within COVID, more specifically, people are sick. There's a few students in my class who have COVID, and they just sometimes just kind of fall asleep. And I'm like, dang, Darian, you just go to sleep, you know? So in that case, it's a little difficult, but for the most part, I mean, being a teacher, as long as you have the knowledge of what you're teaching and how you're going to implement your style of work onto it, you should be fine. I think I'm pretty fine. I talked to the kids. At first, they were all muted. So right now, all of my students are muted, and then they just respond in the chat, and then they have their cameras off. But lately that I've been visiting the classes more often, they've been like, okay, good morning. And I'm like, great, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's early. It's 8 to noon, Monday through Thursday. But I think teaching's fun. It's cool. There's just a lot of obstacles with our current situation with the world that just messes everything up. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, hey, Ona. I just saw some fingers. I was like, what's going on?
I was having another question, but my audio is not super stable.
It sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah. If you can give one of your paint, hold on. I have to click it. Tracy, can you read it?
Oh, if you can give one of your paintings to yourself when you were a child, which would it be?
That is such a lovely question. Wow. I think I would give the vulnerability piece, the wolf, with all the guts and flowers and heart and weapons. Only because like it's one of the most thought through paintings that I've had, that I actually felt a lot, and I even let my brain kind of shut down and meditated as the brush moved, and I was just like, oh, okay, we're doing guts now. Great. So like my brain like naturally like gravitated towards it. And so I would show her that and be like, hey man, protect yourself. Don't stop studying. Art is your friends. Yeah, thank you. I love that too. Yeah, I would definitely, yeah, my vulnerability piece would be hers. She'd be freaked out. I don't think she'd like it. She'd be like, "You're weird," and I'd be like, "It's okay, then. I'm you." Yeah.
Do we have any more questions?
Hey, peace, friends. I don't have a question, but since Sati was talking about the vulnerability piece, I was going to jump in earlier when Tracy opened the floor and just talk about that. That piece really resonated with me. I think in this moment, I just experienced a lot, right? As we're navigating COVID, as we're navigating seeing the death of Black bodies in our face on social media, just a lot of stuff that we're dealing with in our heart and in our minds. And that piece is just so beautiful, fierce and ferocious all at the same time. I'm still just like looking at it like, wow, there's so many things to pull from this. So I just want to affirm Tati in this work.
Thanks. And
You probably cut off, but thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying, I think that you are an amazing, amazing artist. I'm so glad to be in work and community with you. Keep that shit up. We need more pieces like this. And I need that vulnerability piece hung in my home.
It has a lot of energy inside of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you, Darius.
Of course. Congrats on this talk. It was amazing.
Thanks. I was all nervous and giggly, spacey.
It's good. It's good. No, it's you know, as someone who's been a collaborator with you, it's really nice to hear you talk about you and your art and what you do and why you do it. It makes me very happy to hear that. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I got one. What was a time you were really pushed as an artist?
The time I was really pushed as a visual artist, or I know a time that I was really pushed as an artist, but it wasn't like a visual artist. It was a administrative assistant within Public Allies. That was the hardest that I've been pushed to keep up with. Lots of programs that were starting to get made that was like in the discussion, wearing many hats, so you had to like instruct at the end of the day, so it was kind of like a 9 to 6 kind of day. And then also with building relationships with the community, so they don't think that the school that you're representing isn't like like an institutionalized gentrifier trying to hurt people. You gotta like be there, be like happy. There was a lot of like different hat wearing, different forms of communication and code switching, and different levels of alertness that I had to kind of like navigate while trying to be an artist too, because I kept painting as well. But for the most part, I think that's my shoe fell off. That's what's happening. But that's the most that I've been pushed as an artist. I think beyond that, when I'm having conversations with myself about like my work and what's next and what this is going to mean and how I'm going to put this into this type of composition and how it's going to be displayed, that's also the most that I've been pushed, like within myself, being like, okay, like of course retain your style of imagery, but you got to do something different. You have to like think about a different emotion or a different type of evolution or a different type of pain, and just like digging inside of yourself to find it. Sometimes it takes me 5 hours of research of like symbolism and certain techniques of painting, like 5 hours to get to a single design, and then I do the design. It takes me a while. Some folks, so a lot of my friends are just like, Tati, you just gotta do it then. Those are the spray painters.
But also
well,
there's something
naturally good at just putting it up,
like,
you know.
There's something to be said about thought.
I'm like, look, man, I need to sketch. I need to look it up. I need to sketch, I need to write a poem or something. I need to like visualize this in my brain. I need to think about a childhood moment. Like, you know, like I have to feel a lot to process things to make like a solidified piece. And like, as opposed to being like, I'm just going in and it looks good at the end. So I think that's another hard one, like a hard shift that I've been through as an artist. So that one, and then the public eyes, the public allies for sure.
I have
Cool.
a
Well, thank you.
question. Yeah, I have a question. I mean, I was thinking about how do you want to use your art in a different way than you're using it in the future. Some of the things you'll probably still be doing, but what do you see as how you want to utilize your art, or your art organizing, or your teaching?
Thanks, because that was supposed to be like one of my last slides. And I think I forgot. So I appreciate that. What do I want? Okay, so there's a few things that I'd like to do here before I try to travel around. You know, once COVID isn't a thing, which is water under the bridge right now. But first things first, I think I'd like to reach back to communities on the west and south sides. I mentioned before, just like making public art, hosting space that is safe for community members to come and have conversations about like what is progress, positivity, what is the past, what is history, what is triumph, all of these things that I think would like kind of, I don't want to say upgrade, just like push communities, like our communities of color that are so plagued with all of this crap that is plagued with, like push them through the veil for an opening to explore, have some art that they can just like kind of relax with, because art is relaxing. It's a self-therapy, I think. So, and also like have an ownership over, like, this is mine, like I did this with my neighbors, blah, blah, blah. And so in a straight sentence, I'd say public art and community is one of the things that I really want to do in the future. And then beyond my neighborhoods of color in the hood, in Austin and North Lawndale specific, because I would start there first because I'm from there. Beyond that, I always wanted to work with plexiglass. And I really love plexiglass installations in snow and in the hot summer. And it looks good in all weathers. Like, it's brilliant. And so like building these structures to make space that people can just be attracted to, and like have all of these colorful lights bounce off of those spaces to like create these like ethereal, whimsical, kind of like sparkly environments. That's what, yeah. Those are my two things I'd love to do. Hi, Eric.
Hey, what's up? I'm sorry.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt. Please continue. You were just talking about how you were gonna help back in the community. So.
Oh, I mean, I wrapped it up already. That's okay. It's basically what I said is one of the things I'd like to do is do public art in Black and Brown communities first and foremost, and have community outreach where we actually like hold conversations and hold space for people to express what they want in their communities, on their walls and stuff. And then another dream of mine, we're talking about goals, what things that I'd like to do in the future. Another goal is to play with plexiglass and just make these bizarre installations and spaces. Okay. And these public space. Like, it looks really good on snow and sand, grass, on the ground. It's just like a lot of light bouncing. It just creates these happy energy vibes. Nice. So those two things in Chicago I'd like to do the most. And then I'll figure out my life after those two projects.
Plexiglass art is really interesting. What are you thinking about doing with that? Is it going to be like a kind of small scale, large scale, multiple?
I would love to do large scale. Building space large scale would be so cool. Like making even like reenacting some of my imagery with my art, like the cherries that I have that represents femininity, even like a plexiglass installation of cherries, like of imagery 3D, or it could just be a lot of like flat planes of different colors just built to match a space. So like a tiny little house or something, or something over the bus stop in certain areas. So it just like looks really pretty when it rains and all these like colors are like splashing around. Like, so,
Really
yeah.
cool. I like the idea of that. I think you touch on something that I think about sometimes, where we do have sculptures and whatnot downtown, but they're so in like concentrated areas. I think I've seen like the Wizard of Oz in Lincoln Park, but I think going further with sprinkling art around you so it's always there. I mean, we do have nature, that's another form, but what we can do as humans. And when you were talking about having stuff at the bus stop, that sounds really cool. And the plexiglass tiny house would be cool as well.
Yeah.
Robert was saying. Well, are you thinking about illuminating them, or are you thinking about painting them more or less?
I'm just thinking about building spaces with plexiglass.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm reading the chat.
Well, no, I mean, like, are you gonna build a house, like a real, like, tiny, like a small studio? Are you thinking about like building something of that size out of plexiglass, or you said tiny house? That's
like maybe bungalow size, like something that can be implanted in Chicago local parks and moved around.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Installation,
Nice. That's beautiful. I like
plexiglass mushroom halls. That's what Caesar said.
that. Sounds pretty cool, Caesar.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Natalia.
Do it.
Oh, Nat, Sustays. Yo.
Tati, what do you plan on doing once you do start traveling around?
So I've already thought about this, and I'm so attached to Chicago that I don't really travel anywhere. I don't want to say stuck. I'm so rooted here that if I go anywhere else, I'm going to need to do something. And so like I'm going to have to build it. I can't just go somewhere for a vacation. Like sure, if it's with my friends, like Caesar and I and a couple other friends hung out this summer. We had a lovely time at a ranch. That was great. Like, yeah. But in terms of like traveling, I think it has to be like work induced, and I would have to be like, hey, my name is Tattianna. I'm from Chicago. This is my work. I see that you're here. I want to come there to be a part of your show. I have this to provide, blah, blah, blah. Maybe stay there for a week or two, and then like make even more connections as I'm like building my relationship with my art plug, right? Like maybe make a mural or do like some type of youth development thing where there's a project, end game project at the end of the week that we spend time together or something, so I think, yeah, when I do travel around, I would like it to be, I don't want to say business. I don't like putting art with business. It's just gross. It has to be art centric and relationship building centric.
Yeah, for gigs.
Yeah.
You were talking about moving around. Are you thinking about leaving Chicago or just traveling in general?
Right now, I got at least 4 more years to chill.
Why 4 years exactly? College or school or something?
No, not exactly. I just think it'll take about that much time, more or less, to do the things that I want to do, like to accomplish a few of my goals, at least here in the city first.
I got you. It seems like you have a pretty good idea of how to plan out your goals and things like that.
They're there. I look at them every day.
Yeah, nice. Oh yeah. Do you have any not necessarily you would move it immediately after the 4 years, but do you have any places that interest you the most? What scenes speak to you?
I
Or
think
you can be like Dave Chappelle and go to Africa.
just F it. Just go
Fuck it.
back home.
Go. Go.
Funny. I think my best bets, or what I want the most, is New Orleans. If it's gonna be in the States, I'd rather go to New Orleans first and foremost.
Wow.
Gotta be there. There's so much beautiful art and energy there.
There's magic down there.
It's like, yeah.
Literally.
Fit in just fine. I think I would definitely go to California, just to like walk around and see what's good. You know, go to New York, of course, Canada, but I would really like to go to Mexico City specifically.
Okay.
Look at a bunch of murals. Maybe go to Oaxaca. Look at a bunch.
Oaxaca. Wow, you're the second person to talk about Oaxaca.
And I've heard the most beautiful stories. Like, just really want to see it.
Like the Beatles and whatnot.
And then it's like they're down the street. You know, it's so easy to navigate. They're right there. Yeah, I would do that.
Ever thought about not necessarily Europe, but anywhere else over the pond?
I thought about France.
Francais?
I thought about France. They have the same type of racial problems here though, so I may be irritated, but for the most part, the arts, that's what I would go for.
I mean, good luck going to Mexico too.
Oh, dang, you're right.
Everybody all over the world, it's stuck.
I know. I feel like with Mexico though, there's so many different Afro Latinas around, like especially like in Veracruz.
Yeah. I met this black lady when me and Jacob worked at the MCA. It was the first black woman I ever met from Mexico. And I was like, what? I just, me being ignorant, I didn't know. Or me not being aware. And she was just telling me about Veracruz. And I thought that was just really cool. And ever since then, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should, check out more places, see where we have.
Implanted.
Yeah.
I would go to the Caribbean. Definitely.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Hey everyone.
Yes.
We're gonna wrap. This is a great conversation, but we're gonna wrap up the recorded parts, and.